And Weda, coming to you, looking at the fact that so far we don't have any convictions, and of course we'll let the law take its course. Yes. But could that also be another way that will ensure that hate speech becomes a thing of the past when we actually see leaders who are doing time or charged by a court of law, because that seems to be a problem. When they go in, and the NCIC chair, yes, Ole Kaparo, has constantly complained, and yes, I'm not sure if it's blame shifting, but he has said that the judicial system, yes, is working against them in that once they take them to court, they are released on bail or have it free.
No, I think Ole Kaparo would be very wrong. The right to bail is a constitutional right. And then what you take to court, some of these people, when they speak, they just need to get good prosecutors. Just good prosecutors who will not talk too much. Just show the court. And I can see now the courts in this country, from the way they dilly-dallied over the granting of the bail, you could see that it was not the police who kept these people. You could see that it's the court that decided they will be inside for some time. Now you can, therefore, I can tell you out of my years of experience that the courts are angling to jail somebody for hate speech. They are very ready. They will be let down by the prosecution. What do I mean by that? They wait too long and then they bring weak evidence. If somebody says, for instance, that you buy pangas and slash the Luos or those who are opposed to so and so, that's good enough. You come and you get just one person to come and say, yes, on this day I was there and I was shooting this thing. I shot, this is the camera we used to shoot this, and it is it was bought in Germany or wherever, and I was there. You don't need 100 people. Enough. Somebody will go in. When one leader goes in, the country will be saved for another 30 years. So that complaint, he is complaining because he doesn't know. And then when you blame the court, you blame the very person who wants to assist you, instead of saying, how do we do it? The spirit is killed. I think there is sufficient evidence. It is the prosecution. And some of us here are ready to assist. If Tobiko was to give me 1 or 2 cases to prosecute these guys, even my close friends, I would do a fantastic job, and they know.
One day, Justice Gicheru, who was fairly a reserved person, agreed to officiate and preside over an activity at the KNCHR. And I think, and at that time, the police had heightened the crescendo that suspects that were presenting to court were either being freed or being given bail and stuff of that nature. Justice Gicheru, reserved as it might be, he said, I'm not a hangman. Give me evidence. I can just not lock up people because you brought them to court. Yes. So what Weda talk about is the entire criminal justice system. In terms, from the point of investigations, there must be quality, credible investigations. Like I can tell you, quite a number of those cases that were of those people brought up on Friday will not stand. It's evident. Mudamas will be the first dismissal. You know, they cannot stand. You know. Secondly, is a question of DPP's discretion. The DPP was given that discretion so that he can be able not to just take everything to court, but ask for certain ends to be tightened in terms of his evidence in chief. Thirdly, is a question of the right, as you say, it's competent prosecution, how you prosecute a matter. And therefore, there's been an influx of a fairly well-averaged people in terms of, or good people within the DPP's office. I must commend Tobiko for raising quite substantially the bar, or in terms of the quality of prosecutions has gone far much higher. And I can tell you time and again, once in a while I've seen the prosecution stand ground. Then this was one of the times when they should stand ground when a file is flowed. So I think that's how we need to prosecute our entire criminal justice chain. Because quite a number of these high profiles, those of us who enjoy certain leverage in society, can bring together some of the most senior counsels in this country and just demolish the weight of your case. In fact, the only reason the 4 of them spent those 3 nights in prison, behind bars, is largely because it's a court discretion. But if it was a matter of evidence, I hardly think that
they would not have spent even a single night.
It was the court's discretion. The court can use its discretion at times, based on the Braid principles upon how they can and cannot grant bail. So he used that discretion that you can decide on account of public interest to hold persons for a certain period of time, so that public interest is served. So the court was speaking to public interest, that I think in my assessment that they want everybody to tone down. You know, that's what he was trying to imply. Mr. Honorable Ogembo, when he refused to grant those orders at that point in time.
In fact, let me just add that, you see, even the police acted emotionally. They act with the people, the populace. When people say, oh, this is hate speech, we need to arrest people, what they would have done, immediately somebody speaks. Because these people speak in front of live camera from registered media houses. Instead of arresting these people, you will go to the media house and say, who was in this function? You'll be told, Gatonga was there. Gatonga was there between this time and this time. Yes, where's the camera you are using? This one. Where's the recording? This one. You take all that, and then you tell you, then you record your statement. I was standing in this place. I was here. I was so-and-so. I captured this on my camera. You are the witness, number one, to tell you you'll be, and you can be compelled. Then you gather the next, then you go and arrest the guy. But them, it is like, oh, so-and-so has spoken in the morning, by 10 o'clock he has been arrested. There's no evidence.
So if it's that simple, Ambrose, why is it then by design that the evidence is...
It is ignorance. It is simple but technical. For instance, for you to tender evidence from that camera, you must have its serial number presented to court. There must have been where it was bought from, so that people don't frame each other. There must be, the prerequisite is what is more fundamental. Even if you use your phone, it must have been, it's not a phone you picked from Gekomba, it must have been a phone with a serial number, registered and working. So that somebody can say this camera was working well, all these things. Now, the police don't know that. Then they're just, where is Weda? He has spoken. So when we meet in court, then you try to bring in that thing. Then you say, now bring, which camera was that? What is the serial number? The police doesn't know. Where was it bought? Was it in good working condition? Can there somebody come to confirm whether it was working or this was a fake one?
Okay. Let me tell you, in fact, just to build on Weda's point, is a critical issue of the responsibility of the media. If I stood somewhere and said all Muslims are terrorists and they need to be killed, and you air that, you know, let's give this example because it's safer. If you said something else, it could be misconceived, because I'm a Muslim myself. So when you stand somewhere and say all Muslims, and then in his right mind, Michael G. Gitonga decides to air that and goes through all the editorial rigors of KTN, from the person who's filing the story, to the editors and the editors, and then to the person who's reading it the
anchor,
Linda Ogutu, for instance. Is there a responsibility somewhere there? You know, that's
on
also
on
the journalist himself or herself, because that's one of the reasons. And I'm not trying to test the credibility or otherwise of what Ocampo did, was to bring Joshua Arap Sang, was to demonstrate media as a tool of genocide or crimes against halaiki, mass crimes. And that's why in Rwanda, quite a number of leading journalists have been jailed for genocide, because they were the ones, you know, calling people cockroaches on media and asking people to kill cockroaches, who's the Tutsi. So I think these are some of the areas of responsibility one must plug in terms of the responsibility of the media. At no cost should we gag free speech, and at no cost should we allow General Kaiseri to ban the things that he thinks we should ban in the media just to sanitize it. But in terms when you sit as 5, 6 senior editors, women and men, who are evaluating what should come onto the screens, I think you need to apply your minds in a manner as to mitigate what should and should not run.